Good afternoon, everybody. I am the last speaker here for today. My name is J.R. Santos. I'm the Chief Customer Officer for the Cloud Security Alliance. How's everyone doing? I'd rather actually be on stage versus speaking to the camera. So I do miss seeing everybody's smiling faces in person. But I guess we'll go ahead and get started. So disruption. It seems like a common theme for us in the last couple of years. It's been an interesting time where, if you look at the definition here, the act or process of disrupting something, a break or interruption in the normal course or continuation of some activity, process, etc. This definitely describes the current environment and what we face as an industry. And there's definitely opportunities when we face disruption. There's opportunities for us to adapt, and what we end up doing, human nature, is to find solutions. So let's just take a look at what's causing some of this disruption in our industry, just by taking a look at headlines in the news. In Fortune magazine, there was a recent article posted about the number of data breaches in 2021. It's surpassed what we've done in 2022. So it's interesting to see the activity here and how much time it's taken away from us doing our normal jobs, right? I guess what is normal nowadays? The Wall Street Journal talks about the executive orders and the federal agencies needing to fix hundreds of cybersecurity flaws. How does that impact what we do on a day-to-day? You as a professional, how does that impact you? And you're introduced with some of these new challenges as we get more involved in our communities. One thing that we've been facing for years, there's a recent blog post by Brad Smith, President and Vice Chair at Microsoft. And it talks about how America faces a cybersecurity skills crisis. I think for the last 5 years or so, we've been facing a global crisis in this area. And there's a lot of opportunity for us to seize that opportunity as individuals in the industry and people that are part of our chapters here today. I've heard a couple of Anil speak, our LA chapter speak, and there's really a great opportunity for us to step up and really invest not only in our employees, but invest our time in developing the community and the future community of individuals that are down the path or down that journey of becoming a security professional. So there's a lot of interesting things based off of this particular blog post. It really resonated to me because there's really an opportunity for us as Cloud Security Alliance, as chapters, as a volunteer organization. There's opportunity for us to really help fill that gap. And then obviously the pandemic. I've been since the pandemic had the opportunity to meet with hundreds of members, CISOs, practitioners in the space, and a lot of new members to our community as well that really talk about the whole idea of having to accelerate cloud adoption based off of their current environments, people working from home, shifting from a physical environment to an online environment when it comes to sales. We have folks in the retail industry that are involved with us, people that design products and services that physically need to do that in a secure location because of the confidentiality, and then having to take that home. There's so many different challenges, and cloud has been a key component to that. As we as the journey continues with the pandemic, cloud has accelerated significantly, and it's been a common discussion where, whereas in the past I've had discussions where yes, we are interested in the cloud, but only about 20% of our strategy is focused on the cloud. But then now I'm hearing those discussions to where people are saying, we're trying to shoot for 80 to 100% in the cloud. We're migrating quicker, and we don't have the team to be able to assist us because they don't have the knowledge. So there's definitely some opportunities there. And then the ransomware, and Reuters recently, they had a article posted about, just the regulations, trends, and mitigation strategies. I mean, I think, this is an example of where a community, specifically the community of bad guys, are working together. It's becoming more and more difficult for us to address some of these mitigation strategies. And with the regulations in general, there's a lot of new stuff. The regulatory landscape is changing tremendously, and it's in a rapid pace where it's hard to keep up. So with all that said, how do we address the issues? And there's a lot of, when I talked to Todd about speaking at today's summit, he had asked for me to give an update on the membership community and membership benefits in general. But I really wanted to talk about, kind of more actionable things and simplify it. There's a lot of ways for you to leverage the community to handle a lot of what we see as disruption in our industry. But we want to try and simplify it for you because there are multiple ways you can get involved. Obviously, I can't cover all of that today, so they only gave me 25 minutes. So unfortunately, I can't talk to you for 5 hours, 6 hours, because I could definitely fill those hours. Trust me, my employees will tell you so. But I thought I would focus on really 3 simple ways for us to categorize this so that we can really stay focused in our discussion today. And one way to navigate through disruption in our membership community is through collaboration. So collaborate, educate, and elevate. Those are 3 things that I want to focus on today. And just to be cute, we had a little disruption right there, and that's what I'm trying to get with my little design. So first, before we get into that, though, I want to start by talking a little bit more about our community. You probably heard from a number of our presenters today covering some of this, but it's surprising to see when I go to an event, even if it's a CSA Run event or a CSA chapter event, how they may not be as familiar as they think they are about our organization. So I'm going to have a tad bit of history lesson, but I'm also going to provide, some additional information about our member community and how that looks like, so you understand the global footprint that we have and the opportunity to get involved. So, as you all know, we were founded in 2009. Our global headquarters is here in Bellingham, Washington. Not a lot of you are familiar with Bellingham. I'm actually at, if you look back here, it looks prettier on the camera, but it's actually gray and rainy. And I'm at the satellite office here in Seattle, Washington. So if you're ever downtown catching a Seahawks game or wanting to, visit old downtown Seattle, we have an office down there that myself and the research team works out of, and marketing. So you can see us there. But our global HQ is in Bellingham, Washington, where the organization was founded by Jim Rivas, our co-founder and CEO. And then our EMEA headquarters, we do have a presence in that region. We are based in Berlin, over there in Germany. It used to be in Edinburgh, Scotland, and we moved a few years back over to Berlin. Singapore is our Asia Pacific headquarters, and we've been there for quite some time. A lot of the work that we've done in Europe and Asia initially was through government grants. We did some research projects with the European Commission. We had some activity with the Singapore government as well as government out of New Zealand, but we had quite a bit of activity in that region. And also to mention, we have achieved the U.S. federal 501c6 nonprofit status. So it does, provide us some flexibility as far as what we do. In addition to that, we formed a number of strategic partnerships with governments, a lot of research institutions, and professional associations. I'll touch on that in a later slide. But one thing to take a look at is the corner here. We have about 127,000 individual members, and that comes from a number of sources. So our LinkedIn community, which is where we're originally collecting a lot of our individual members per se. And then we also have our Circle community, which is part of that, where we're starting to create that environment. And then 105 chapters. So this is something that for you as individuals that have been involved, we appreciate your time and your volunteer time as well. 105 chapters is significant, and it's exciting to see that, because starting when we started this program or CSA, I started in the research space, and we didn't have a lot of the support. So to see how we've grown organically, and that we have 105 chapters in that global footprint across the globe makes me beam inside. So it's pretty exciting to see that. And then we have 408 corporate members and 6,000 research volunteers. And this is really the backbone of our organization. Without our corporate members, without research volunteers, we're not able to do what we've been able to do for the industry. The white papers, the events that we host, it's really, thanks to them that we've been able to do this. And how corporate members look like, if you're not aware, we essentially have a number of tiers, but we have two classifications to make it easy. It's the enterprise, which is the enterprise end user cloud, and then it's the solution provider community as well. So those two groups are the key groups that we focus on. Obviously the tiers could be startups, SaaS organizations, and other things, but we have those two classifications that really are the focus of a lot of the benefits and things that we offer. And then I'll touch, John DiMaria went in a lot of detail about STAR, but I will touch on STAR. But the fact that we have those over 1,400 entries within the STAR registry is pretty significant. And it's becoming a really beneficial resource, especially myself being a former practitioner in the space. I would have salivated over what's in the registry today, because I used to manage manage and oversee vendor management and procurement programs, and it was a lot of work. So in a way, it helps, kind of alleviate some of the trivial many and focus on the vital few that information security professionals want to assess during that process of procurement. So let's go ahead and hit on collaborate. So what can you do in the membership community to collaborate? Obviously research is the grassroots of our organization, and that's one of the best ways for you to get involved. You probably heard from Sean Heide today, but really with all the research that's happening, it doesn't matter what level you are. If you're not an expert in an area, that's okay. There's an opportunity for you to learn and meet like-minded individuals, but also gain a level of expertise that you might not necessarily gain if you just, stick to the activities that you do in work. And what people don't really understand is the impact to the industry as well. A lot of what you see in the slides, everything kind of trickles down into different areas. So if you think about, we look at education, a lot of the research that we use, and it's going to be even more common here as we roll out some of our training strategy. But from an education perspective, a lot of the guidance documents and cloud controls matrix, some tools within the assessment and audit space have converted into some of the certificate programs that you see today. Then there's thought leadership that's created. Some of that also rolls into the tools and standards space. Some people consider us a standards development organization in some sense, but we're actually not an SDO. How we'd like to put it, and Jim uses this term a lot when he talks to folks, is that we're more of a standards incubator of some sort. a lot of the research that we do, we have an advantage where we can accelerate development of research. We could be agile in our approach and bring the community together in a lot more rapid pace. And then that research could then be leveraged in a standards development life cycle. So if you're in an SDO and we have partnerships with some of those SDOs that are very common in our industry, is that they'll fall into that category. And the obvious thing is the collaboration and best practices. That's where we see it. But this is an opportunity where as a member, you can actually lead working groups. So if there are particular areas as a member you are an expert in, or your organization's an expert in, or maybe it's part of a long-term product roadmap where you want to be a part of it, you could be involved in so many ways and leverage that through this research community. In addition to that, if there are problems or issues or pain points that your customers are facing, there's an opportunity for you in a vendor agnostic environment to be involved in taking that problem, bringing it to the table, and maybe it warrants the development of a new research artifact. Maybe it warrants creating a new working group. Maybe it evolves into something like training. There's a lot of opportunities that sometimes people don't. When people see research working groups, they assume that, oh, I have to be a researcher or a really strong technologist. You could be a generalist. You could be a student that's just wanting to learn. There's various ways that you can get involved. But from a membership perspective, you can help kind of lead the way and pave the path for a lot of the research activity that's happening. So if you haven't already, I would highly encourage you to take a look at all these domains. I'll share the slide, but all the domains that you see, every working group, there's some interesting work that's happening. Everything from tools that you probably already leverage, like the Cloud Controls Matrix, we just released version 4, to some of the emerging technologies like Internet of Things, blockchain. I think there's some really interesting stuff there that people can still contribute to. So I mentioned the Circle community, and I wanted to highlight this again because this is an area too where on the back end you'll see a lot of the working groups leverage the Circle community to kind of manage the different parts of components of a working group, like providing some of the meeting minutes, some of the discussion. But I highly encourage you to get involved. There's the Inner Circle, which is kind of the core community that has different postings and ways to collaborate with like-minded individuals and peers within our community. But this if you start getting more involved today, this is actually going to evolve into something bigger. There are some new features that are going to be announced and that are going to be rolled out within the next year or two that will provide even more possibilities for interaction. So getting into the ground floor, getting connected, building your profile is something important. And if all else fails, you have Orbert here, our little character buddy that is able to help you out if you need a little guidance. And then something new in our area is just the CXO and expert interactions. And this is a part of our member interactions. There's a CXO Trust, and really that's the initiative that we recently announced at our September event. We actually had hosted a CXO summit that was really successful as well. We had some good interactions, and I noticed based off of the participants, I noticed a few familiar faces from individuals that were participants there. But the CXO Trust, the idea of that is to get a group of CISOs together to better understand the priorities of their peers within the C-suite. And the output of that could potentially be research initiatives. It could be development of tools that really allow them to, leverage that when engaging with, board of director the board of directors or C-suite peers, within the industry. So it's a really exciting. It just got launched. There's more opportunities. There's still opportunities to get involved there, but a lot of members have been inquiring about that. And it's been definitely a hot topic lately. Executive roundtables. We've been hosting executive level roundtables for quite some time. With the pandemic, obviously we've switched over to virtual, but these are intended to be more intimate, interactive discussions that cover various security topics specific to executive level security professionals. So you could essentially, the output would be learning from your peers. So you have that interactive discussion that's led typically by a sponsor, but it'll be a sponsor member company that would come up with the idea or topic. And then we would then have discussions with CISOs, whether you're a CISO from enterprise or solution provider side of things. There's opportunities for all of you to connect. And then the output, essentially, it could potentially be best practices or practical guidance that you could utilize in practice. So that's technically the output of some of the sessions. Birds of a feather sessions are really open to all members of the community, but this opportunity is really, again, kind of more of those pop-up collaboration opportunities where we discuss hot topics that are coming up. Maybe there's a new regulation, maybe there's a new executive order, maybe there's a new technology that's impacting our industry that we need to kind of quickly come together to bring some of great minds together and experts to try to come up with solutions or maybe steps to get to a solution. So there's really good opportunities there to get involved. One thing that has been, last thing I wanted to bring up was that analyst briefings. It's been a fairly, I guess it's not a new benefit, but it's been around for a while, but it's been consumed a lot. Most recently, it's been consumed quite a bit from our members, specifically the enterprise end user community. And there's a lot, we're really trying to gain knowledge on those strategic priorities and pain points of the enterprise. And it's a really great opportunity for us to start collecting a lot of that information, really understand that. So we could, our membership managers, which are assigned to each member, are actually at the point now of doing a lot of discovery work. So initially what we'll do during the onboarding process is really try to understand, what are some of the strategic priorities that you have for the upcoming year? What are some of the top 3 pain points that you're facing that impact your ability to do your work? So, the output of this briefing, a lot of that will start feeding into our CSA research roadmap. In addition to potentially, it could be intelligence, maybe that's sanitized, that would be shared with, our community members, or the additional thing would be it could lead to development or additional input into our product roadmap. So there's a lot of opportunity where it's applicable, but analyst briefings, especially for our enterprise end user community, has been a common benefit that they see a lot of value in. And then I brought up the industry collaboration earlier with a lot of different government organizations and SDOs. I think it's really important to see this. This really encompasses the relationships that we have in industry, how important it is for us to continue to collaborate with the industry. I always say CSA is a bigger ecosystem than just CSA, because one thing that we don't like to do is reinvent the wheel. So if a lot of you are part of different organizations outside of just CSA, you may be involved in standards development organizations. You may have other industry associations that you are involved in. The idea here, if we're missing anything, if CSA is duplicating efforts, hey, let's find the partner and get connected. If you see that opportunity or that disconnect, we want to hear from you. We want to know that there's that possibility for us to, get engaged with individuals within that community. So it's a pretty widespread of things. I know that the research team had covered some of that, but it's a mix of industry associations. We have sector-specific associations and organizations, and even standards development organizations and government agencies. So hitting the educate button, how can you educate in the CSA member community? And this is a different perspective. The CSA Cloud Bytes webinar, it's award-winning webinar series that we've had. We have about 44,000 plus subscribers. And currently we have about 635 webinars that are available on demand and 30 that are going to be live here for the remaining portion of 2021. I'm sure you'll see a couple more added till the end of the year. But this is an opportunity for you to demonstrate your thought leadership. So as a solution provider member, as an enterprise member, you can actually use this as a platform to demonstrate the thought leadership. A good way for solution providers, this webinar series is a pitch-free zone, so we don't want to hear the sales pitch. What really resonates with our group is the case studies and how the different concepts that you present to your customer community, how that can help solve some of the problems that individuals are facing. That definitely resonates to our community. So it's an opportunity for you to step up as a thought leader, and also as a bonus, get some CPE credits as well. And this is an interesting demographic. If you take a look at the diagram, and I apologize, I need my readers to take a look at it, but I don't have them on right now. So I'm assuming some of you are struggling as well, but it is a smaller image. So if you want to take a look at it, it's a really good breakdown of the demographics that actually participate in that area. And, I talk about education. So how can you educate the community through our events? A, you could be a speaker. B, you could be a sponsor. C, you could be creative. And what we're doing now with the events, obviously events has taken a big hit. We're doing all these virtual events, but now there's opportunities for going to be more opportunities for speakers. So there is an active call for speakers that I'm not sure all of you are aware of, but it's something that I would highly consider you do. And, as a member of our community, as a member company too, if you are a corporate member, there's opportunities to speak there. And that's without being a sponsor. You can come in and be a part of our speakers bureau, or be part of our speakers bureau eventually, which is what we're trying to build here. And then obviously, sponsorship of events, that's kind of evolved in a way. There's opportunities to sponsor virtual events, but there's going to be opportunities to eventually go back to sponsoring in-person events as well. And when I say being creative, there was a really interesting, we had our first in-person event that happened in September in Seattle, called September. And it was amazing to see. It felt like something was lifted off my chest, because it was like a real nice industry high to be able to meet with like-minded individuals and see familiar faces that I haven't seen in a while. But there was an interesting time where one of our members actually hosted tabletop discussions, during that in-person event. And it was very helpful. And that's when I say be creative. That's the opportunity, is being creative on how you approach some of these events. And again, it's a way to get engaged in our community. And when I say elevate, what I mean is everybody's looking, we talk about the skills gap, and I brought up that example earlier. It's like you could do two things: elevate your personal brand, and then also elevate your organization's brand. As a member, you have unique opportunities to get involved, but as an individual as well, you have the opportunity to educate yourself. There's the certificate programs. There's no prereqs that we have, so you don't need to have X amount of years. And it's really flexible, the training availability. We have self-paced online training, virtual instructor-led, and we've had a couple in-person training. And that's obviously some of the grassroots of what we've been involved in the past. But you can do, as members too, you can have private sessions if you want. And then there's the CCSK, that's evolved. It's our standard of expertise for cloud security, but that profile itself has kind of changed and evolved throughout the years. Originally we've had candidates from the enterprise side where it's just specifically focused on security professionals, but now you're seeing both on the solution provider side and enterprise side, but now you're seeing different folks coming in to take the training. Not only are they security professionals, but legal teams, contractor and procurement teams, non-technical staff, students, in addition to sales teams and solution architects. There's a lot of people that have been getting involved there. So it's something I highly encourage you to check out and consider. But the CCAK is something new where it's involved, but the interesting point there is with, originally it was the auditing community, but we're seeing a lot of security professionals take this certificate. And main reason is I think, people just want to learn how to, connect and communicate to their internal audit teams specific to the cloud environments as well. And then, we talk about the research. One thing that I think that what really helps is, you need to really equip yourself with some of the best practices and tools. There are a couple of very common tools that people download that are the most popular ones, but there's still quite a bit of research that's been produced that's really good research that's been vetted by the community and built by the community. So there's opportunities where you can download more of the research, 364 plus research artifacts. And there's also opportunities for, utilizing some of the different tools that we have available that help streamline some of the procurement processes and help you with, doing your job within your security program. And then last but not least, contributing. We have open peer reviews that are typically about 30 to 60 days, depending on the type of research artifact. So there's an opportunity where you can actually contribute to some of these initiatives and provide input. So if you are an expert in DevSecOps, contribute to that pillar. And there's definitely some active opportunities there where we want you to be involved. And last but not least, the branding. So how can you do that? You could be a member, you could be a sponsor, you could be an auditor. And as I mentioned, I'm thankful every day for the executive members that are all the members that contribute to our organization. And what it really does for us, it allows us, this is the core group that really allows to continue doing what we're doing from a research perspective. It contributes to the development of our research. It allows us to do some of these great events. And without them, there's no CSA. So downloading the publications, you could also do some, people don't realize that you can actually do some custom research. We have some market research, Hillary, I believe she's online, or you might have heard from her in a previous speaking slot, but there's opportunities for you to get engaged and figure out if you have topics that you want to kind of keep exclusive to your organization. There's opportunities for you to be part of, take advantage of that. So with that said, I just want to end with a quote. This resonates with me, but essentially Henry Ford was saying, coming together is a beginning, staying together is a progress, and working together is success. There's a lot of organizations out there. I talked briefly about, our membership community and how you can be involved. And I really, want to mention to you, it's like, there's other organizations out there. There's a lot of other communities. If it's not our community, get involved in the community in general. Encourage your teams to get involved, because we can't do this alone. We have a lot of things changing in the world. We have a lot of disruptions, and we really need to work together as a community to help solve some of those problems. Be a part of the solution. So I encourage you, as a call to action, not to just, be an observer, but get involved. And if you're ever interested in finding out more about how you can be involved in our community, as I mentioned, there's a lot of opportunity, and I can't go over all of it in today's event, but I'd be happy to have a virtual cup of coffee with you if you'd like, or if you're ever in the Seattle area, come visit me and we could grab a cup of coffee. So anyway, have a wonderful day, and thank you so much for your time today, and enjoy the rest of your day, and enjoy the rest of the event. Thank you. Okay, is that me?
Hey, so we would like to thank everyone for attending today's CSA Chapter Summit event. We hope you came away with a greater understanding of some of CSA's audit and compliance tools, our latest education and training opportunities, CSA's research, and other opportunities for engagement with CSA. We really want to thank you for being a member of the Cloud Security Alliance. This afternoon, we'll be sending out a post-event survey. So if you could please take a couple minutes to fill that out and help us understand what we can do better and maybe do differently in the future, that would be extremely helpful. Again, we look forward to connecting with you in the future. And again, I want to thank you for joining us today on the CSA Chapter Summit. So thank you very much. Hope you enjoyed the event today.